Okay, I was trying to figure out how I could get this plaque from my YouTube site that I use on so many of my videos up on the live stream here, since I am not able to use OBS or one of those. So you're actually looking at my laptop computer screen, and I have that up there because this is the subject that I have to discuss right now. And this needs to go everywhere because this has been my mantra since I got on YouTube in 2009. And it's been my mantra since about 2002. And I even made warnings about all of this way back in the 70s and 80s. Okay, so sorry it's wiggling a little bit. I'm having to hold it in front of the phone camera, but I just want this to get out there. I've put it up on Twitter recently on some tweets that Tucker Carlson, uh, the Kellys, and others have brought up about the problem that we have with our intel agencies and what they've done to us and what they continue to do. And so this is basically the thing that I've been saying for all of this time. Let me put it down now and I'll come on camera. But this is important. Let me back it up a little bit here, a little bit more. Like I say, it's on my laptop screen because I don't have a system on my phone where I can just do, the type of live streaming that I'd like to do with all the background information, the memes, the diagrams, the charts, all that stuff, photos, etc. Okay. I guess that'll pretty well do the job right there. Now, I am doing this at a time of day where the internet is going to be jumping around, and I already know that. That's why I held that up there for such a long time. But I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that all this is coming out. Again, the apocalypse, the time of the reveal, the time of those things which are hidden, both the truths and the good and the evil and the lies. All of those things will be manifest to those who will have eyes to see and ears to hear. And that's really where we are. In the description box below is a short clip from the interview with the Russian arms dealer that we traded for our athlete, basketball athlete, while we leave a former Marine to rot in a Russian prison, and who knows how many others. Our priorities are based upon debauchery, degeneracy, fraud, corruption, lies, deceit, money, and power. And what's running the whole show, as I've talked about quite a bit, I've put up some information on Twitter and here on YouTube about what happened here and how this fourth branch of government, which has become the most powerful, that is the intelligence branch, okay, has corrupted our society and all of our minds to one degree or another. I've been warning about this for decades. And while they were picking on me, they were getting ready to destroy you. You need to listen to this portion of the interview. It's not the whole thing. You can get the entire interview if you like. It's very revealing. This Russian talks about how even Russians looked up to the United States, that we were this light on a hill, this beacon of liberty and abundance, freedom, and how now we are worse than the USSR ever was, and how we've lost it. If he can see it, why can't you? Why can't we? last little while, we've had great reveals about how the FBI and the intelligence community, and I had one person tell me it's not a community, Roy, it's a complex, and I understand that. The intelligence complex, and I kind of like that. It's hardly a community in the sense of a community that we would like to think. No, it is a complex, and he was right. He brought that up to me. It's the military industrial intelligence congressional complex. Intelligence complex. I like that. But IC has been used for a long time, intelligence community. If I could change that graphic, and I may at some point, I might say complex, but I think most people still look at it as the intelligence community. So the last few days we've had this reveal about how the FBI and the intelligence community, intelligence complex generally, has, while pointing the fingers at other people who are supposedly manipulating our choices, read between the lines, because if I say the wrong thing here, YouTube will oblige me by taking this video down, or any others I've stated. As I told you before, when I've come out and criticized the FBI in particular, those videos have been removed. I'm surprised that my playlist on FBI corruption is still up. I really am. By the way, I'm drinking Dr. Pepper cream soda. It's pretty good, actually. So we've had all this information. Finally, even though Trump was going to let out the JFK papers, right, declassify those, and for some reason he didn't, because he was afraid, I think. He didn't like the threats that were being made to him and the claims of legality and all that. No, he could have done it. Now it's coming out, Tucker Carlson is even showing, hey, the CIA was involved in the assassination of JFK, as was probably the entire military industrial intelligence complex and congressional complex. Charles Schumer and Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, and a number of other people that are on these different committees in Congress, the Senate Select Intelligence Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, all of these different things, they are in fact CIA assets, and they should not hold office. This entire corruption of our legislative and executive and judicial branches happened because the intelligence apparatus, especially under Hoover, it began in 1908, and certainly by the time Hoover took over, he was getting blackmail information on government officials so that the fourth branch of government could gain more power. There isn't any fourth branch of government in the sense of the intelligence community, not constitutionally, not the way we're organized. That was all supposed to be under the executive branch, but they pulled away. They used their power, as I've been warning about for a long time. The four branches of government are actually, number one, we the people; number two, the legislative; number three, the executive; and number four, the courts, the Supreme Court, the judiciary. But the number one is we the people. They had to subvert that. And now all of our branches of government answer to this usurper fourth branch, the intelligence complex. I'll use that word. And it's been that way for a long time. So this information's come out, and it didn't surprise most of us. And most people with a thinking cap on and a couple of brain cells to rub together would understand that JFK was taken out by our own government, maybe with some help from mafiosos and things like that, but primarily our intelligence community. Oh yeah, our intelligence complex. And of course, all the revelations now about the FBI, and we're only talking about the FBI at this point. But we know about Operation Mockingbird. If you don't know about that, look it up. CIA and all that, with Frank Church back in the 70s being revealed for having people in the media controlling what you hear, what you think, setting the subjects to be discussed so that anybody who gets outside of that is considered a what? Conspiracy theorist, which was created by the FBI and the CIA to cover up the assassinations. So all this has come out now, and basically my concerns, for what they're worth, have been vindicated. And then I have some asshole come on my last post. If you go to my community posts, the last one I put up was about this very thing. And this little ass wipe writes on there, because I said, if we don't, if we, the first branch of government is we the people. If we don't do something about what these corrupt intelligence complex agencies have done to us, then America is, and it really is already, but even more so, it will be totally destroyed. And this asswipe comes on and says, I think you're trying to stir up some trouble here, saying we. You see, now any disagreement with the government is considered an insurrection. And Trump, unfortunately for you Trumpsters, I'm sorry, but Trump and Flynn and some other people I don't care to name here helped to set this up so that this would be the end result. I don't think that they were innocent in this at all, even though they're charging, this J6 committee is recommending criminal charges against Trump. As I said all along, Trump is kind of like the patsy that's helping this thing go along. But of course, as we've seen in the past, FBI patsies get set up too, and they go down. And having the defense of, well, I was just working for the FBI, isn't even allowed in the court of law. So I don't trust Trump. I don't trust Flynn. I haven't from, well, it took me about a year, 6 months to a year after they got in, and then I realized, nope. And those of you who have followed me know what I'm talking about. So here we are, and when you talk about trying to stop the evil, the debauchery, the degeneracy, the corruption, no longer are our law enforcement agencies and our military out there to protect us against these encroachments upon our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. They're not there for that. They're there to make sure that you are not permitted to speak out. And if you do, you are considered the evil one, the insurrectionist. This guy that, or I guess it's a guy that posted this post on my community post on this subject. Again, it's the posts, it's not the videos. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if, number one, he's either one of the FBI bots on there, CIA bots, which follow me everywhere, or he's an idiot that's latched on to this entire destruction that we're seeing because he thinks he's going to have a little power by supporting such debauchery. Hence the name of this video. Like I've said for a long time, they will destroy everything, even your own mind, even your own life, everything, before they will relinquish power. And everything is proving that exact point that I've made. And I'm going to repeat it despite what that asswipe said, who was trying to, bait me into something. By the way, I was set up at Bundy Ranch, and if I hadn't watched my ass, they would have grabbed me there. But I was there to bless those people. As most of you saw when I was there, we were doing situations with prayers over the group, and to cover it, and to help those people understand and to protect themselves from the obvious murders that were being planned by the federal government, the BLM and the FBI, the Department of Justice. Much like Waco. That's what they wanted that to become. And fortunately, enough of us were there to cover it, to keep it in front of the people, that it didn't quite go that far. But that's really where they wanted it to go. And everything else is the same way. They want to destroy you. That we the people, the first part, the preamble of the Constitution, we the people, the first branch of government, they're taking down. And we go along with it. Our representatives, there are a few that are standing up and fighting it. Thomas Massey, Louis Gohmert, who's been in the forefront as well, but he's leaving. Despite Marjorie Taylor Greene's errors every once in a while, she's at least giving it a shot. People are going to say, no, she's an insider. She's just playing us, whatever. Rand Paul, Senator Ron Johnson, there are a handful in there to try to do it, but really where it's going to have to be done, and I pointed this out, this asswipe who made that comment, that baiting comment, I pointed out that really governors are going to have to stand up. That's where it's going to have to be. And do I think for a minute that that's going to happen? People ask me on that post, well, how is it going to be done? Or how are we going to fix this? Well, you're not. This is the time of the division, the dividing. The wicked divided out from the good. The evil divided out from the good. And the wicked will destroy the wicked. And that's why I say, pray, stay out of the way, stand in the holy place. Stand separately as much as you can. Defend yourselves because, like I pointed out the other day, the Amish, who are probably further out of the system than anybody else I can think of, they even come after them. Anything that challenges their ultimate authority. The USSR was never this bad. People say, oh no, Stalin killed like 30 million of his people or whatever the number was. Before this is through, that'll be nothing as compared to what happens here. And it's on the way. Look at Mitch McConnell. What did he say? They wanted to push this omnibus bill through. Funding, right? Oh, they don't do their they don't do their jobs in Congress. They kick it down the road. And they do these little stopgap measures which are not constitutional, but which they give themselves a pass on, just like in insider trading. Those types of things. FTX. Send money over there, your money, supposedly to Ukraine or whatever, and they get kickbacks for their personal well-being and their election attempts, their process, paying off their contributors, their backers who keep them in office. They don't work for you, ladies and gentlemen. Not even Rand Paul does. I hate to tell you that. Not even Rand Paul works for you. He does a good job, better than most, but none of them are really in your pocket. They're in the pocket of people with the big bucks, the corporations, the oligarchs, which is interesting because they want to take Russian oligarchs' money away from them. You know, the EU wants to do that, and Canada's working on that, right? Because of what's happening in Ukraine. Well, it's funny. Why didn't those people say we need to take the money of American oligarchs and American billionaires when we invaded Iraq, Afghanistan? We destroyed Fallujah. We weren't even concerned like the Russians are right now. The Russians are concerned. They don't want to kill innocent civilians. We didn't give a damn. We practically firebombed Fallujah. So where are the people that are coming after American billionaires who stood by and allowed that to happen? We are a lawless, disgusting, corrupt, godless nation. And if you allow these secret societies to continue to function, and I'm talking to you governors, like they're listening to me, right? Oh, I send stuff to Governor Cox, Governor Abbott, Governor Gordon of Wyoming, all these people, and they're not paying any attention to me. I'm small potatoes, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is going to go out on the Akashic record. If any of you know what that is, I'm doing that so people will know that I said that this is wrong and that these people that are leading this country are disgusting. We're in Psalms 82. My son and I have got to do a live stream on this with a question and answer period. We're in Psalms 82. These people are acting just like Psalms 82 talks about. They're gods. And instead of using justice and mercy and protecting us in our rights, they're stomping all over us because God's letting them do it. He says, okay, I'm going to let you have at it. I'm going to let you have at it, but you're going to die like men because you're so hell-bent on ruling without just judgment, intelligence, and taking care of the flock. So I'm going to let you have at it. We're going to have this war on the earth, dividing up the geographic areas of the earth, because that's where the gods are projected from the heavens or onto the earth. If you all don't understand what I'm talking about, that's what it is. And God's letting him do it. And unfortunately, he's also letting us squander our lives by not standing up and saying no, because that's what we are supposed to do. And that asswipe, he said I was trying to stir up some trouble by saying we. He doesn't understand the Constitution. He doesn't even understand personal responsibility. He just wants to be a government lackey, whether a paid one or not, because he thinks that's the side that's going to win. Well, he's going to be real surprised. Well, they'll make some bigger inroads than they already have before this is over with. But in the end, they're going to be hunted down like dogs if they make it through the destruction that's coming, because they're stirring up this bear over here for nothing. It should have been our sister country. Has this thing been jumping around at all, or is it staying up pretty much? Well, I had to come on here tonight just for a short time. No real scriptural lesson, not when I'm doing this. I think I'm going to have a beer here in a couple minutes, actually. 5 by 5, good. For some reason or other, it's not jumping around. Yeah, some days it does really bad. I don't understand. It's rush hour up here. All the kids coming home from school and being on the internet and, all that stuff. But at any rate, I had to say something. Kind of like vindication, pat on the back. Roy, you've been talking about this for years, and now here it is. Everybody's seeing it. Almost too late. The grip that they have on us is a death grip. And it's going to take something major to get them off of our necks. And as I said, most likely, the way that's going to happen, personally, we need to stand up and say no as they push more stuff. We need to say no and gather with like-minded people. Try to get our governors, or if not our governors, at least our local people. Yeah, I know it's too late, emergency exit. Really it is. The balkanization of the United States is going to happen. It's already well underway, and I know that. But I can't sit here and not at least warn people, right? Because the fact of the matter is, the way I look at it right now and the way Douglas McGregor looks at it, I won't mention his name. It's probably not right to do that, but I'd like to. One of the congressmen that has lost his seat and is on his way out. He came out today. I saw it on Twitter, and he says, NATO will crush Russia. I'm really amazed at these congressional people and these academics who have never seen a bullet fly, much less served in the military or studied military history, tactics, strategy, or the real fact of what the world situation is like, come out and say all these things that they can't back up. And they try to flush down the toilet people like myself, Colonel McGregor, people like that, Scott Ritter. Oh, I'm not in Scott Ritter or Colonel McGregor's category. They're heads and shoulders above me, but I got close enough to where I can see what's happening. And as I said, NATO has no chance against Russia, nuclear or not. And that includes the United States. But these people that are pushing this don't give a rat's ass about your life, your blood, your treasure, or that of your children, your sons, and, as I've warned, your daughters. You're considering buying a bottle of rum for New Year's Eve. Rum. Well, I haven't had rum in a long time. Who's that? John Curtis? Rum's a little too much sugar for me. Just a little bit too much. I mean, wine's kind of the same thing. It's a little bit too much sugar. I try to stick to it. And I know whiskey and scotch and those things, that's carbohydrate. That's just sugar in another form, but it's slightly different. Doesn't happen quite as fast. Sorry, I'm burping. Johnny Walker Black here. Good for you. I like that. Yeah, Johnny Walker Black is good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going along here and wasting your time at this point. Yeah, all wars are bankers' wars. I know that. That's who the intelligence complex, the intelligence community, the military industrial complex, our government works for. I know that. Jesus kicked the bankers out of the temple. That's one of the stories that's really interesting. It shows that he wasn't a pacifist. He was a pretty strong dude, and he wasn't averse to violence when the time came that called for it. And the time that they show in the scriptures, there were others, but the time they show is when he went after the money changers, the bankers of our time. I know that. And we're supposed to be like him, ladies and gentlemen. We're supposed to have his attributes in us. So why are we standing for this? And where's the leader that will come out and say enough is enough? Well, like I said, we have some people that are testing the waters, but they don't. Our military, our law enforcement agencies were all infiltrated and bought off and controlled years ago. And I've been warning about that. So the only alternative at this point, as dangerous as it is for the state governors to start holding back their military assets, the National Guard, etc. I mean, here not too long ago, you might remember, the Pentagon was cutting off funding to certain states because of their position on some political issues. We need to do the same to them. They're talking about defunding the FBI. Good luck with that. I'm not against it. Don't misunderstand me. It should be destroyed completely. And the CIA as well. When people say, well, that'll leave us without anything. No, we've got organizations that can handle that. The military intelligence, which is really where it was supposed to be in the first place. And there are problems there. But at least there, it was supposed to be under the auspices and the control of the executive branch, not an independent branch. In fact, which it is. Marshal Service is, yeah, it's still under the executive, but they could take a lot of that over. But there are problems there as well. But to break down the FBI. First of all, they don't have to do all this stuff across the country that they do. They do a lousy job of it anyway. What have they been doing? They haven't been going after child predators. They've been spending all their time looking for grandma who walked through the Capitol building on January 6th. Soy boys in the military too, for that matter now, and in the FBI. They bowed the knee to the Antifa and BLM. That tells you who they work for. Tells you what they are. Well, I'm just blowing off steam now. I probably ought to go before I lose the connection or power or both. I don't want this to hesitate going up. But I just wanted to put it out that it's important to understand if you don't know what's happening right now, and it's worse than we know even yet. Okay, this is just the tip of the iceberg with what the FBI was doing with Twitter, embedding its agents in there, its assets, and giving them money to tell you how to think, to censor you, to stop your free speech. Oh, Congress is going to do something about it. We're going to investigate this. Well, I'll tell you what, without somebody to come in and bust heads in the FBI, it's going to be an exercise in futility. And the FBI knows it. The CIA knows it. The Pentagon knows it. Austin wouldn't be there unless he had kissed ass, and probably some other things, because he's an incompetent fool or a complete lackey. Either way, he's useless, except for destruction of our own people, as evidenced by his order for the troops to take this treatment, right, which is illegal and which has degraded our readiness. They're going to freaking kick our ass. Do you understand? When they move into Ukraine, it's going to be hell on wheels. And those NATO troops that are there, those coalition of the willing, are going to turn into pizzas on the ground. No, I don't have any alcohol in here. I'm just pissed. Because they've done this to us for decades, if not centuries. And we keep falling for it. But I said, Russia will be modern day Assyria. Assyria destroyed Israel. And Russia is going to take out this over here and everything connected to it. Our financial system is already destroyed. Of course, yes, I know, Klaus Schwab and the WEF and the New World Order planned it that way anyway. They wanted this war so that all these things could happen to the European countries and whoever else wouldn't come onto their system. I understand that. But there was a guy, I don't know if you remember Matt Bracken, he's a former SEAL. I haven't seen hide nor hair of him for quite a while. I don't know if he's still doing interviews or not. But he used to say, you know, saying you're going to ride the tiger isn't riding the tiger. And these fools, like this congressman that said that NATO can defeat Russia, and these academics who say that, yeah, we need to send Patriot systems to Ukraine, like that's going to win the war for Ukraine, or that shows you they know nothing about military operations, absolutely nothing. But they get all the attention, and the people swallow it. Most Americans, I don't think, really care about Ukraine that much. Not really. But if they knew that they probably won't be able to buy food this coming spring, summer, whenever, or fuel or whatever, because they're using this as an excuse to cut off your supplies, you might want to think differently. Because as I've often said, whatever's happening here is just a distraction. They're coming after you. These people here and here, and if you can't see it, here is the Vatican. Brussels, Belgium, Davos, all those things, UN in New York, the bankers of New York, they're coming after you. Harari said it. If you're not one of them, you're going to die. They're going to kill you. You're going to drown. You're going to starve. And if you don't know your history, the USSR came about because of the evil that was dreamed up in D.C. and New York and London. Back during the 1917 revolution, the Bolshevik Revolution. It was all financed by the very people now who are still trying to take over Russia. But nobody's going to defeat Russia. Nobody. Okay, I've got to go. Lose power, lose a connection, whatever. But I had to come on and just say that. Again, in the description box, just listen. It's about just a few minutes long of this Russian arms dealer that we traded for that idiotic, disgusting symbol of America. Unfortunately, it's true. But he says, this Russian arms deal, he says it like it is. We've lost our way and we're no longer what we used to be. And we are actually worse than the Soviet Union ever was. Y'all take care out here.